am from the Bay Area. I have lived here my whole life. Both of my parents have immigrated here from Mexico, and they raised me, my brother, and my sister here in the Bay Area. I am Mexican. I also am the middle child of three kids. I am also the only one yet that has finished college. My brother is actually also going to college. I am a first generation business owner and college graduate. Um, I have always knew that I had like a passion for helping people with their mental health. So when I found Brit and I found Reiki and life coaching, it was really just a no-brainer for me to go on head first and step into my power, really.
Tell us, I know when I met you, you can tell me a little bit more about when you were in school and what were you studying? And that's kind of like when I met you. I think it was your last year of college.
Yeah, it was my last year of college.
Yeah. So
So
what was going on with that? And then what made you go, okay, I have these tools that I learned from school, but I think I want to try this other thing.
yeah. So, like I said, I always knew I wanted to help people with their mental health. So I went into college for psychology. And at first I liked it. It was an adjustment college because I went to a really small charter school. There was only like 500 kids in all four grades. So my graduating class was only like 85 students, but it was very, because there were so little students, it was very like one-on-one. We had a lot of one-on-one with our professors. So the quality of education that I received in high school was like the best. And then I went into college and it was cool, just kind of getting through the groove and stuff. But like I noticed that once we got into the more intense part of psychology, like the last 2 years when we were really getting into what it was, it started to not really sit right with me because it felt a lot like we were putting people in boxes. So it was like diagnosing and then prescribing and then just kind of giving everyone a general um, diagnosis, right? Without really getting the time to get to know these people's like backgrounds, environments, like traumas, stress. So it was a lot of just like literally just looking at the surface and then putting a diagnosis on somebody. And that didn't really sit right with me. And at the same time, because I was going to school, working, I had experienced a lot of stress. So I was actually myself encountering anxiety and I had never experienced it before. So I was very like in a yucky situation because I had went to school for 4 years already. And now this was no longer aligning with me. And it felt like, wow, did I just waste all this time going to school? And now I don't want to do this anymore. Like, what are my parents going to think? And my parents' biggest thing was like I had to go to college. My older sister started a family early and she got to do that, so she didn't really get the opportunity to go to school and get educated. And that's always been something that my parents drove to us, like go to school, get an education, so you can get a good paying job, right? Security. So I was in college and it was not sitting right with me. I was like, man, should I drop out? Like, I was like, I don't know what I want to do anymore. And like I said, I was feeling sick in the mornings. I would like get up and throw up. Like I couldn't get out of bed and I didn't know what was wrong. I just felt like a knot and like a heaviness in my chest and in my stomach. And like I had bad headaches. But I didn't know that it was stress and I didn't know how stress could affect the body like that. I was in school for psychology and that's not something that we talked about, like how stress can physically manifest and then you start to see all
Oh,
these
wait, they
symptoms.
like never talked about that in school?
No,
Oh,
like they had stress management classes, but they were never like, okay, if you're so stressed, you can get sick. Like I didn't hear. I mean, I kind of had an idea because my family members, I have family members that have experienced mental health issues because of stress and trauma that they've encountered. Like I've seen it happen, but nobody really addressed it until it was my last year of college. I was doing ABA therapy, working with kids with
mm-hmm.
autism, and I met Reef.
Yeah.
I started working with
And that's how you came into our life. Yeah.
So it was first I met Reef and I was his therapist, and then that's literally around the same time that all this was happening. I was going to
Yeah.
school, I was anxious, I was like not feeling good. So then what started to happen was, because I couldn't get out of bed in the mornings, I started to call in sick, and then that started to affect me financially. So now not only did I not was not doing hot in school, I was not doing good financially, and just I was in a relationship at that moment where we were kind of not having the best time. So it was like four areas in my life that were causing me a lot of stress. So I became sick, and then I remember I would just keep calling out, and my anxiety was to the point where I couldn't even call to call out. I would have my friend call out for me.
I remember that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would have my friend call out for me because I could, like in the mornings, I could not do anything. That's when it was the worst. And I
And
remember,
I totally remember like Reef loving his time with you
yeah,
and you loving his time with him. And then I would get these like text messages right before you're supposed to come to the house and like, oh, she called in sick today. And I was like, okay, something's going on. And then I remember see you coming to the house, and a couple times your energy was just like low. And the
mhm,
thing about now, doing the work, this work, that you cannot bullshit around me, or you can't bullshit around, like people can't bullshit around you now
yeah,
because energy doesn't lie, right? So I can, and I think you've been in a lot of different homes, and our home, I think we're very aware of like energy
yeah.
of
Mhm.
and taking accountability of what we're bringing into the space. So it's kind of interesting because I remember when you would come and you would feel like just your energy was low. And one day I was like, okay, if this girl's going to be around my family, I need to talk to her and see what's going on. And I think we're in the dining room area and I was just like, what's going on? Like, I remember
Yeah,
when I was 20, if I was like in my 20s, like early 20s, like you were at that time, I was like, I had fun, like there wasn't a whole lot of burden. Life was stressful, but like I was still having fun in my early 20s. And I said, so what's, on your heart, or what's stressing you out? And we had conversations. And I think you were like shocked because, I know you've worked on this and being better at showing your emotions. But back
mhm,
then, you
yeah.
were shocked at yourself for crying in front of me.
Yeah, no, like I remember that day, like it was such a shocker to me
Yeah.
because no one had asked me like, what's in your mind really, and then had me just flow. Like
Yeah.
it was different. I had never, like, I don't let myself now I let myself cry, but like before I
Yeah.
wouldn't let myself because it was just kind of like I would talk myself out of why I was feeling a certain way. Like, oh, like it's okay. Like maybe just the healer in me was trying to console, the broken parts
Yeah.
of me that I needed healing. I was trying to talk myself out of it, but it was like, no, I really needed to go through the motions and feel what I needed to feel to be able to,
I also think maybe you didn't have anyone to feel safe with.
yeah,
Because I think
definitely.
you knew, because of the work that I do, I think you knew that I could handle it.
Yeah.
Like whatever was going to come up with that conversation, you're like, okay, she's a life coach. She kind of does this thing that I'm not so sure about, but I'm curious. Like I know when I was starting to tell you what I do, I think that was a day I really was like, do you know what I do?
Yeah, and then
Or,
yeah, definitely. And I definitely think that's what it was too, because usually I'm the one that's having to hold it all together for everyone else. So just to have somebody even give you that space and ask you the right questions, like I was like, wow, okay. So then when we started talking about more about like, you told me about Reiki, and I was like, wow, like that was the first time I had ever heard of it. And then we started talking about life coaching, and I just always remember how you told me how in life coaching we ask questions to have people come to their own conclusions, and that always stuck in my mind. I'm like, yeah, like that's the way that things are supposed to be, because what I think is right for somebody might not be what they feel like is right for them, so yeah, I really enjoyed that, and that's really what spiked my interest, because like I was all messed up, like stressed out and like anxious, and then just even after that conversation with you, it made me feel hopeful that things were going to get better.
and then when you experienced the training, when you came to the class and you took the class and you did Reiki on strangers, really, what was that experience like for you?
Wow, the experience just being in a space where like other people are there also to like learn about energy, it was great, because like I said, that was my first exposure to any of this. This was my first time ever hearing about Reiki, first time ever learning about energy, and it was so life changing. Like after that first class, like I was like, okay, this is it. Like I want to do this. Because when me and you were talking about it, we were just talking about it, and yeah, it seemed cool, but actually like doing it and getting to know like the history behind it and the purpose of it and like how it could really help people,
Yeah,
like I was like, wow, okay. And like I immediately felt it. I had a couple sessions with you prior to the
yeah, the class.
class, but like I already knew the power of it because I had already experienced from it. It had helped me heal and get my stuff together. So it was just, I was excited to help other people, and to be able to get the word out, because I felt like at that time like nobody really knew, and I was like, wow, this is like life changing. Like,
Yeah.
why aren't we teaching this in the colleges, right? Well,
Like everyone should know how to do this and
yeah, everybody should know how
tap
to.
in. Yeah. And you've been working now for several years with clients, seeing them in the office. I know it was such a cool story how you started off just simply in your backyard working with clients, and then moving to an office space and working virtually also during the
Yeah.
pandemic, and having different, sometimes even workshopping through bigger groups of coaching sessions for like 5 or 6 people, and doing group life coaching and things like that. What are you excited about in like the coming year? Like the type of people you want to help, the vision you have, what excites you about this work?
What excites me the most about this work, I think it is just the different range of people and culture and ages and genders that we can help. I started, most of the people that I started to work with were my peers, were people that I went to school with, were people that knew me and trusted me and like already knew who I was as a person. So we're
Yeah.
definitely interested and trusted me and coming to see me. But now, because like you said, I've been working for a couple of years now doing this, I get strangers, and I've had like people from all ages come in and be clients of mine. And I think that's what fills me, and it makes me feel like, wow, okay, like I'm not just, I can help anyone. I can literally help anyone just bring a little bit more awareness of themselves and how their experiences have affected them and still affect them, and like how we can move forward. But another thing I think that we you have helped us kind of just have all these opportunities, really, whether it's starting our own business, healing ourselves, healing our families, like really stepping into our power, different options of how to create income. I think this year, these last couple of years have been like, I feel like 2020 was kind of crazy, and then 2021 was kind of like the repercussions of 2020, and I
Yeah.
feel like 2022 is kind of like a new leaf. I know things are still kind of crazy, but like the energy is different and like very optimistic. And I think people are starting to learn how to live and manage with certain stuff that happens in our environment. So I feel like just as a collective, I'm excited to see how we move forward from this.
Yeah.
And personally, I'm excited to just step more into the opportunities that like life gives us, because I know that my intentions are good, and I feel like the more that I spread love and I help heal people, more opportunities will present itself for me.
Yeah. And you really do work with people of all backgrounds and all walks of life, and anywhere from the kid to the athlete to the business owner to somebody's mom. You get a lot of those. A lot
Yeah,
of people
I
end
do.
up bringing their mom to come and see you, and healing the generations in
Yeah.
that way, right? Like daughter, mother, grandmother, or like granddaughter
Yeah.
even.
And now that you mentioned that, I feel like that's something that in my personal life I needed. I needed the
Mm,
generational healing. And I think we talk a lot about karma, and I think the the karma is kind of working itself, because I, like
yeah,
you mentioned, I just kind of put two and two together. I do work with a lot of daughters and mothers, and like smaller daughters and like people's
yeah,
kids and stuff. So it is really like an amazing thing to be able to heal people as a family unit.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And that way, like you said, the energy shifts from anything that was like negative, maybe that would have been passed down from grandma's trauma to mom, and now we're like shifting it. We're like,
Yeah.
no, we're not going to do this anymore. Like, we're
Mhm.
going to tell a new story. It's a new day. We're going to get our lessons from that. And like, how can we make it, better? And a lot of it, and I know you're finding, is communication, you know, and
Mhm.
finding your voice, and not to find your voice to be like, oh, this is what you did wrong. You know, it's like empowering people to speak their truth, communicate, and come to a better place with whoever that person is and whoever they need to forgive. And maybe sometimes forgiveness doesn't look like talking to the person. Maybe it's a letter,
Mhm.
but still finding your voice in that letter and releasing the stuff that you've suppressed, you know. And I
Yeah.
think you're helping people work on that as well, to just kind of be honest, be
Mhm.
authentic with what it is, and feel your feelings, let it out
Yeah,
in a productive way,
definitely.
and move forward. Is there any tips that you have for people that are on the fence, right? Because you remember when you first heard about Reiki, you know, your first experience in my dining room really getting coached.
Yeah.
Whether you knew you wanted it or needed it or
Mhm.
not, I was like, it's gonna happen today in
Yeah.
our conversation. But for somebody on the fence, they're looking at, you know, your video and your profile, and they're thinking about, you know, reaching out. I guess any advice for them?
Yeah. So a piece of advice that I would give anyone that's on the fence about booking me, or just booking a session, or even just DMing me to get more information, or sending me an email to get more information, I would say definitely just go for it. Like, you have nothing to lose. Even if you I love getting people comfortable when they're either in my office or before. So if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to address it. Like, I go into super detail about like what each thing is, because I want it to be like, is it for you or is it not? I may not be your healer, you know?
Mhm.
Um, but we have a team. We have a huge team. And if it's not me, there'll be a perfect fit. But I go really into detail about how it works, what it does for what it's done for me and what it's done for others. One thing that I hear back a lot from my clients is how calm and comfortable my space is, and it just makes you really feel at home, cozy. I'm super laid back. I put my feet up on the table, I mean on the chair, like it's supposed to be super not like intimidating. It's an
Yeah,
intimidating subject. I know you're going to come in and be it's intimidating to be vulnerable,
yeah,
especially to somebody that you've never met. But that's what I'm here for. My job is to be on the lookout for your best interest and to help you in whatever areas you need help on. I also feel like I do this very genuinely. Like, every person that comes into my office is somebody that I, with my whole heart, want to help. And my heart has been there since the beginning. Even before I even knew I was going to do this, I knew I wanted to help people. And that's kind of my
yeah,
main priority with this.
yeah. What
Yeah.
is one? I know the world has been a little chaotic, but like you said, it's really a divide. I hate the word divide, but I really see people who are stuck in the old pattern of fear,
Yeah.
and people who are kind of, the veil is being lifted and they're seeing things for what they really are, and they're taking their power back and realizing they are pretty powerful.
Yeah.
They are pretty powerful with their mind, and whatever they choose to focus on is their reality.
Hmm.
How is there any, like, a tip that you can give people right now with, you know, some of this chaos going on in society, but what has kept your mind focused or you feeling grounded, especially these last 2 years?
Something that's kept me grounded is, I think, just being aware of what triggers me and how that makes me feel. Like my body. I think our body talks to us all day long. If something's feeling ucky, if something's not feeling right, somebody's energy is not feeling good, your body will tell you. You start to feel a little bit yucky, heavy, anxious. Just the advice I would give is take care of your body and listen to it. Your body is the only thing that's going to help you get through whatever, whether it's anxiety, depression, pains. Like, your mind and your body work together. If your mind is right, your body will be right, and your body talks to you. We just need to learn to listen. And for me, I think just knowing, like, because I've experienced what anxiety is, I know how my body feels when the energy's not right. So
Yeah.
I try to, if I have a heavy week, I try to spend some time outside. I like to take walks. One thing that I'm going to make sure that I get on this year more is working out, because that really helps me release toxins, ground myself, and just be on, like, go mode, focus. And then when I leave there, I've released so much stress and I feel good. It's good for me, like it's good for your health. It's good to crack a sweat. So a couple things that I've done during this time that I feel like has really helped me is being outside, taking my vitamins. I cannot stress to you how important it is to take your vitamins. I've been healthy throughout this whole stuff, and I know all these other things keep popping up, but your body's the only thing that's going to defend you. If you don't already take vitamins, please do increase your fruit, go out and get some air. That's like the best thing.
Like the almost free things that people
Yeah.
forget to
Yeah.
do.
Free
Yeah.
things that we can do just to keep us safe and grounded. If we take care of our body, it takes care of us.
Yeah. Thank you, Denisse. And if they want to book you, they can fill out the contact form and then you'll get right back to them. And like I said, you work with anyone, anywhere in the world. And so all they need to do is just take a chance on themselves and know that it's time to ask for help, right? And some people, that's all we need to do is just ask, and you'll be so surprised with what comes back.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.